The most damning, provable, and painful example I can give you is what I thought was my best friend. When I was in America, Deanne told me that they found a lump. I knew I didn't want to come back to Australia because I knew what I'd be facing. It's way worse than I thought it would be. So the only way, and they knew this, I would ever come back to Australia was for my kids or for Deanne. So when Deanne said that she had cancer, I came back. I came back. She didn't have cancer. She never had cancer. And she knew she never had cancer. And what I thought they blackmailed her into doing this, but she's been not my friend for a very long time. The whole time. I was discovering things that just made no sense about her story. And everybody piles on, right? So everyone I trust, well, I did trust, but I shouldn't have trusted, was, telling me, of course, God, she wouldn't make this up. And I was like, no, why would she make it up? To get me back here. But this system is so fucking disgusting and corrupt that they took a perfectly healthy human and injected her with a low dose of chemo. So she lost a little bit of her hair, she lost her eyelashes, some of her eyebrows to make it believable. But they were trying to force me to say that I didn't have cancer when I know that I do. Oh my God, I'm so sick. Look at my eyes. Anyway, so here's the proof. On her pathology report, she has no UR number. A UR number is critical, like how the hospital identifies the patient is their UR number. She had no mobile number on this thing. It was just a template given to fool me if, I asked for it. I asked for it because I wanted to study and understand her cancer so I could offer any help or find something that, Anyway, so no UR number. Collection time was unknown. That's a critical breach because pathology samples must be time-stamped. And the PO box address listed. The real clinic address is replaced. This hides the true collection site. Pot unlabeled as to site, yet somehow they claim it came from the right breast. 10 o'clock, contradiction. Lymphovascular invasion, not identified, so there was no cancer spread to the lymph nodes, and definitely not to the spine, as they were saying when the doctor was reading off of this pathology report. She said that it went to the lymph nodes and it was in her spine. Philip Costas is not an oncology pathologist. He's from Melbourne, and she's never been to Melbourne to be tested or treated. And this is the guy that constantly shows up in my records, my Medicare, my pathology. So why is he on her? Why is Philip Costas, who constantly shows up in my bogus records? Because she never had cancer. That was the lie to get me back here. I started taking fembendazole, which there was a American businessman who had small cell lung cancer, which is, I think, the second deadliest cancer. There was nothing more they could do for him. A veterinarian got hold of him and he asked him if he had ever heard of fenbendazole. He said no, and it's an antiparasitic for animals, like a dewormer. And he said that there was this scientist who was injecting lab mice with cancer in different parts of the poor animal's body for research. And they came down with a parasite, so she had to give them fenbendazole so it didn't wipe out her experiment. So she gave them the fenbendazole. Not only did the fenbendazole cure the mice of the parasite, it cured the cancer. Same scientist was later diagnosed with a glioblastoma, so it's a tumor wrapped around her brainstem, incurable. So she thought, well, nothing to lose. She took it. It cured the tumor. So Deanne was telling me that she was taking this alongside her chemo, and she got it for me, and I took it on the dosage that she told me to take every day, no breaks, and it was double what I should have been on. And I trusted her, so I should have done the research myself. So at the 10-day mark, the tumors on my thigh and the inside of my mouth were shrinking considerably, but I was getting a shocking headache, worse than I have, in my neck, because the tumor die-off was happening at a rate that my body wasn't able to keep up with, so I got really sick. But this was working, so it was a dilemma. And then Deanne knew that it was working because I sent her videos of the before and after of my thigh tumor. It was significant. And she tried to dissuade me. She said, that her liver enzymes back, and they were sky high. But I have a memory like a computer on some things. And I recognized those numbers on her bloods that she gave me a cutoff, you couldn't see her name or anything. I was like, those are my numbers. And if she had numbers that high, her liver enzymes, she wouldn't have been at work like she said she was. She'd be hospitalized on a drip. So the one thing that was working for me, the only thing I had, because I don't have the medical, and she tried to dissuade me from, she would have been forced to do it, but she's still happily doing it. So yeah. That is one of the many betrayals since coming back to Australia last October. But it was just one of many that I've had to overcome since I was a little kid, and placing me in a home where there's intergenerational clergy abuse. And then at 6 years old, when I was pulling out my eyelashes and showing trauma behavior, bad enough for my 1980s teacher to sound the alarm. So it was bad if a teacher was stepping in. And the psychiatrist just states, she's just having a hard time with the divorce. Pulling out my eyelashes, really? And even in my mom's affidavit saying that, we would cry when she would leave us alone with our father. Does that sound like somebody who's missing him? Anyway, so the betrayal has been just something else I've had to endure while I'm enduring. My body shutting down on me and receiving no help.